All right, let's do it live on a Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. Have a nice weekend, buddy. Nice holiday weekend, my friend.
It was a great weekend. I had a wonderful time with the fam. I had the kids this weekend, which was great. And went to out on Friday night, went to what I consider to be the finest restaurant in town, the Trout Club, with my good friend Dizio and his lovely wife. And something happened.
What an incredible humble brag there that is right out of the gate.
Not because of me. I was just a guest. That doesn't make it a humble brag. I'm just a guest.
Sure. Well, the company you keep.
Well,
company you keep.
Dizio is in his. You're right. He is a legend. So we went out there and had an unbelievable meal. I brought the wines, thanks to WTSO and the hot.
That's how it works.
So right. So there's no you bring your own booze, and so whenever we get taken out there, I'll show up, and we had three real nice bottles, and it was just great.
Nice.
But what happened to us while we were there is something that I've never experienced before. We were shamed. Not once.
Shamed.
But twice. Shamed. So when we go there, Dizio's kind of like,
I find that
he's like me in the sense that he wants, let's have a taste of everything. So we ended up getting like 3 different kinds of trout. We got some pasta with scallops and scampies. We got a smoked tenderloin. We got ribs. We got veal piccata. We got veal parm. We got so you have this spread on the table that looks like easily could have fed 10. But we just wanted to nibble around and have it. Multiple tables come by. What's wrong with you guys? How many people is this for? What's happening?
Really?
Multiple onlookers shaming us. Very sad. But guess what?
Really?
There was no shame in our game.
That is sad.
We were loving it. So that was Friday night was a real delight. Saturday night, Miss K went out for the first time in a year with some of her friends from the office here, and so the kids and I
social activities.
The kids and I stayed home, and I brought the TV out of the bedroom into the living room. I brought another TV in there, so everybody had their own TV, and we played Fortnite for like 4 straight hours, as though we were in college together. And then I had on my phone right next to me, I had Gonzaga, UCLA, Gonzaga, UCLA. So I got to see the final 4 minutes and all of overtime, I saw everything I needed to see. Just a tremendous night. And then Sunday was great, but there was a thing that happened. So, my daughter, she's got, starting to, get into date in the mix here. And so we're together, and it is a holiday, though not. And my kids are Jewish, so not in our house. But it was still, there was a gathering, and the guy that she wanted to have come there shows up in jorts.
Oh boy, to your house?
Act accordingly.
Wow, I gotta say,
I mean,
I'm just glad I don't have to deal with those type of things.
Jorts.
You have to remember, it is
jorts.
Maybe just a simple mistake. Was he not aware of the day? Was it just that was just? I guarantee you, a senior swag is not walking.
He just
in.
walked by.
I think
not in jorts.
Yeah. No.
We used to have a show.
Are kids doing that now?
I don't know. We used to have a thing on this show like 5 years ago in the off season called the Jort Report, and we would have people send us in like pictures or call us stories of like the most ridiculous places they saw people in jorts. Well, now I've got my own.
So there's really 2 types of the jort. There is the like cut off Levi's. There are certain parts of places that I've lived in my life where that is a regular ensemble. And then there is like when we were in college, like what is like Jean Co. Remember that look?
Massimo?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they had the big wide leg, and they would go like past the.
Like
so there was that,
Penn style.
which that
was like Kid and Play? Kid and Play used to wear those, or crisscross? Maybe crisscross.
Yeah, I think that maybe more crisscross. Yeah. As we're showing our age, old
That's
references lost on young listeners.
Like, who?
Yeah. So there were two different types. What was this? Is this what the kids are doing now? They're doing this
I don't
again?
believe so. I don't believe that that's what it was. I was told that there was a motorcycle ride in the future that necessitated George, which again set off more alarms to me. That
no, I don't.
Are you worried about road rash? You're worried about burning yourself on the exhaust pipe? What are we doing? What are we doing?
That's not ideal. I wouldn't think a jort as someone who's had motorcycles in my youth, that would not be an ideal
No.
Article of clothing to wear, on the motorcycle. So I think that sends its own set of alarms. It appears to me that the lovely Miss Arden is attempting to date the Charlie Sheen character from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That appears to me where we're at right now, and that's your situation.
Well, listen, it'll all work itself out.
She's an angel.
Right? It's all going to work itself out. But nonetheless, tremendous weekend. Banana pancakes as well on a Sunday. Just a delight.
What a job.
What about you?
What a job out of you.
I even got to play a little golf yesterday with the fam. It was great.
I think it's amazing because I do follow Miss K on social, and I do see that when you play a little golf with the family, they just watch you play.
No, erroneous.
And drive the carts.
Erroneous.
Is what it looks like to me. It looks to me like, because our golf experience with our family are very different. My golf experiences with with the boys is I am there. I get to hit every once in a while. I tee up all their ball. I bring them their clubs in between. Like, that's my situation. And when I see Miss K on the IG, what I see is what appears to be you're playing, they're cheering you on, and that's the golf experience. Now, I could be getting this wrong, but that's the way that it looks from my end.
Listen,
looks like two different experiences.
And
I think your circumstances are great. Like, that's a phenomenal setup that you have.
So, number one, what you saw on the IG, if I'm not mistaken, was me hitting a teed-up sand wedge from about 110 in the middle of the fairway after a bomb drive, which I'm sure you saw that. I don't know if the camera's close enough to see the teed-up wedge, but nonetheless. But no, so what we do is,
but I'm sure you were. You have to watch out for your shoulders.
I play every hole, and they play every other hole, but in its entirety. They play the holes, all three of them. Miss K,
from the box,
Artie, and Bryce. They play from the ladies' season. They play them all. So we're talking
par fives.
You could have a hole. They didn't do either of the par fives. They teed off on one of the par fives, but didn't play the hole, and then brought it up to where I hit my approach shot in from. And then, the par threes, Bryce on number 8 at Walden hit a little hybrid to about 10 feet. That was his shot of the day.
Nice.
Everybody had a shot of about 100 yards that they hit on the green. All of them from at various
beautiful
holes. Yeah, so it was great fun. But no, you're talking about the capability of a combined score for the trio in excess of 45 on some of these holes. And if we were counting miss swings, we could be at like in the 80s.
It could really elevate.
Sure, balloon.
Really,
a lot of practice swings.
Okay, very good. Because in my head, I just imagined like you going golfing with your lovely children and Miss K, and them basically just being your riding gallery, just cheering you on as you hit. That's in my head. The way that it's presented on Miss K's IG, it seems like they're just cheering on you, and you're just like waving to the gallery like the greatest time ever is what it seems like.
I believe there was a shot of Art and Drea in the bunker in the IG. I believe there was a live action Artie in the bunker splashing some sand around. And as Miss K calls it,
that's a good job.
She calls it the pit. So she hit a shot that she thought was going to go on the green at one of the best. She's like, it's in the pit. Not the pit again.
Right.
Oh, I was dying. It's great.
You know, the funniest thing with children in golf is when they're little, all they want to do is get in the sand. And all of my boys have had bootsies at this age now, because I say I don't let them hit in there because it's just a disaster. Like, they can't get out. They get covered in sand. Like, there's sand in the shoes. There's sand everywhere. So I if they hit it in there, I'll just hit it out, or most of the times.
Yeah.
But as they've gotten older, I let them hit it out. I let the two older ones hit it out, and because they're going to have to when they play. So Bootsy's at the stage now where he will aim, and I'm sure your kids were at this age, where they will aim to the sand in an effort to because they think they want to hit out of there. And it's finally taken Black Cobra, who is 9, it's finally taken like 2 years of having to hit out of the sand where he's genuinely disappointed when he hits into it. That's how long it's taken.
Got to throw that sand on the green, young Bishops.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Fantastic holiday weekend. Fantastic brunch yesterday, and great stuff was had by all. Had a lot of fun with the weather was good, so good. Yesterday it was awesome. I did find I was dialed in to all of the hoops, and especially the Gonzaga UCLA game, which I was hopeful would be great. I've lamented before on this program how much I enjoy watching Gonzaga play. It's just beautiful, beautiful basketball, the way they cut, the amount of layups they get. And UCLA played perfect and lost. And I feel like it was as good a basketball game as I've ever seen. I don't know that it's better than anything I've ever seen, but I watched it from tip to the end, and I thought it was as good as anything. I remember Kentucky-Duke very well with the Leitner shot, and that was a classic game. That was a heavyweight game. This one had that feel to it. The shot making was incredible. The thing that I was so thankful for is the two coaches let them play at the end of the games. There weren't stoppages.
Yes.
There weren't timeouts. There weren't video reviews. There wasn't needless timeouts to set up plays. Like, these things happened in the flow of the game. So that the block that Jalen Suggs had on the dunk attempt that led to the run out and the one-handed cross-court bounce pass for the dunk for him, and then the end of the game segment from Johnny Juzang, who was just unguardable, hit everything. They shot 60% and lost.
Yes,
and for
60.
them to get that run out for Jalen Suggs, and then he hit it, and I've seen people say that was a lucky shot. It was not. He was a jump shot from 40 feet with rhythm. It's actually not that hard. If you're a good shooter, that's not that hard of a shot. You have all the momentum in the world. It's not like it was a heave from beyond half court. I saw some people comparing it to the Gordon Hayward shot that missed against Duke. That was a much more difficult shot than this one. And that one wasn't that difficult for somebody of his caliber. This is a step into 40-foot jump shot. This is what Dame Lillard takes these shots all the time.
The momentum is what made it go off the backboard as opposed to just swishing in, because
Sure.
he was probably a little bit amped up.
Absolutely
but
right.
I think you're right, and it was well done, well designed. The end, incredible. Juzang follows up his miss, lays it in. They go bang, bang, bang. They're trained for that situation. He's already running on the arc to get up the court as soon as he catches the ball.
Yep.
It was an excellent game, and as I said, I only caught the end of regulation. I was monitoring it on my phone all evening, and then I said, okay, I'm throwing it on to actually watch it here in the midst of our great Fortnite outing. But what struck me was it was just good. Everybody's making everything. The guy, I can't remember his name right now.
Made everything.
Who was I think he's a lefty. He looked like he's a power forward for UCLA. And they kept talking about how he doesn't make 17-footers. And in the time that I watched, he was about 4 for 4.
Riley.
He was 4 for 4 on 17-footers.
He hit every 17-footer. Yep.
Pure as the driven snow.
Yep. Yeah. the Drew Timme kid for Gonzaga with the mustache, his footwork and his movement around the rim
Metcalf.
is just absolutely yeah, that's honestly, again, old reference lost on young listeners. That's who I thought of, was his ability to drop step and put things in. It was stunning. It's fun to watch. And you get a final tonight that is something that doesn't happen all that often, where these two teams separated from everybody else. Yeah, and they've been the two best from the tip of the season, and they will play for a national title. This is the first time in our lifetime, the three of us watching sports, that an undefeated national champion will play in the national championship. Well, 79. I guess Indiana State in 79, so I was alive for that, but obviously don't remember. But 76 was the last one. 15 Kentucky lost, and 91 UNLV lost. So in the Final Four, not in the championship game. Thank you, Gibby. Gibby, what did you think of the Gonzaga UCLA game in the pantheon of great games?
I turned it on when I got the alert that it was a close game with 2 minutes to go.
Oh, sad.
I know.
I mean, I think a lot of people
it's
did that.
sad, but it's also great. You saw
I was
exactly
doing some
what
other
you needed to
things,
see.
But the
I was
whole
like,
thing was that way.
That's
like
what
the whole thing was that way. It was
I can imagine
amazing.
that.
Like, it never got, the biggest lead was 7. Every shot felt like it was the biggest shot. Like every time down, you were like, if Gonzaga, because it felt like UCLA was doing all that they could to hang in, and everything they were doing was working. They were hitting everything. It was like at some point it has to stop. And at one point in the second half, with like 8 minutes, Gonzaga stretched it to 7. And I thought, oh, here we go. Now it's done. It's done. And then they missed 2 shots, and then all of a sudden UCLA's up 2. It was incredible.
Well, the Zags were up 5 with 50 seconds left.
In overtime.
Yeah,
correct.
in overtime.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right,
Yep.
I think we got a little breathing room
You're
here.
safe.
Like, I think we're going to do all right. It was, and that was going to be my question, because I watched the end of it. I watched overtime. It was that way the entire time. Which
The whole way. There
which is
wasn't
a lot like that Duke UNLV
Duke
91
Kentucky game.
heavyweight
Or
back and
UNLV.
forth.
Yeah.
Every starter in the game, other than the point guard for UCLA, was in double digits. I mean, it's
There is nothing more you can do if you're UCLA.
How about the fact there were a total of 10 bench points scored out of 183 points?
Right.
I mean, these were the
plays
starters.
7 guys, really. And really 5, but I mean they play at most 7 that total. And it was as high of the thing that was so refreshing, guys, if you watched it all, and I know probably many people did, or watched most of it. Many people probably do what you guys did, got an alert and hopped into it.
I got angry after game
stoppages.
1. The game 1 was
well,
such
that
a
was
blowout.
brutal.
I was like, I don't want to spend my Saturday night.
Game 1 was over.
Well, and they had
right
an
when it
hour.
started.
They had an hour and 25 minutes between tips because they had to
Yes.
clean a court, which was ridiculous. So all of that was just stupid. That was bad.
It's Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, I mean she's fine, but like who needs that? Who needs
Right.
35
No,
minutes
just
of
let's
Miley
get to
Cyrus? It's just not.
get
It's
to
the
it.
Final Four. Play the games. But from the flow is what made it beautiful because it wasn't mucked up by overuse of timeouts. It wasn't mucked up by overuse of replay. The two coaches let them play many times in instances low in the shot clock. They were able to create. So it was really, really sweetly played. And hopefully the game tonight, it should be. These are the two best teams all year.
How was UCLA an 11 seed?
Well, they got hot at the right time. I mean, this
That's
Juzang
the
kid
biggest key.
was the best. Yeah, and he's the best. He was one of the best players in the tournament.
For
And
sure.
he was a Kentucky recruit that went to Kentucky, and then it didn't work out, and he came back to UCLA, and he just put him on his back. Like, they didn't miss. It's crazy. Some of their wins, I think it was against Alabama and Michigan. Those two teams shot like 50% from the foul line in their losses to UCLA. Like,
Yep.
everything that could go right for UCLA did during their run, and then they just perhaps played it for 2021 at least the perfect team. And even when you play perfect, it's not enough.
No, they were flawless. The final tonight is going to be a big one. That, however, wasn't the coolest thing that happened on Saturday. I don't know if you guys, I know you don't follow me on social, but perhaps you do follow Eric Metcalf. And somebody tweeted out to me a video. Matthew Collar, he said, "I will watch any Jeff George game that shows up on YouTube because of throws like this. Insanity." And it was Jeff George against the Packers throwing an absolute rocket to guess who? Eric Metcalf. So I tagged him and I gave him the eyes at Eric Metcalf. He responded, "The Sheriff," with 3 exclamation points. And somebody said, "Isn't Peyton Manning
Now he's
Sheriff?"
got Manning's nickname.
Yeah. Nay, it's Jeff George.
No, Manning isn't even
Big
the sheriff
Saturday.
anymore. Jeff George is.
Big Saturday.
That's a big Saturday for you. A lot of Fortnite, little Jeff George, the sheriff for Metcalf.
And
What a
Jorts
win.
on Sunday.
Let's
go.
George, that's unbelievable. As we get into the LBM topics, Ohio Business Street preferred copy provider, your Cleveland Browns of all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Some details coming out. I see the football helmets down by the stadium, Uncle Z. That's exciting to see. The draft is coming. NFL draft experience. I know that you want to get in early on this. I know that you want to sign up. You need to do the NFL One Pass app. Download it. Sign up. Capacity is going to be something that'll be dicey, so sign up, get in as fast as you can. But a lot of really cool stuff coming to light on this front, my man.
Yeah, it should be a pretty neat thing now. We're getting close to it, and they're kind of figuring out, as you know, everything has changed from the COVID perspective with the vaccinations, et cetera, all the things that you can do. And, yeah, I think there are some pretty neat things. The 40-yard dash presented by Castrol, the Bud Light Legends Bar, the NFL Draft Set presented by Rocket Mortgage, the Pepsi NFL Helmet Photo Opportunity. They're all sponsored, by the way. NFL Draft Photo Frames by Panini. And then this is the one that I like. How cool has this been? An additional Panini booth where fans can get their own digital trading cards and official NFL trading cards. So you could get your own Beau Bishop, Montana quarterback of the decade, century. Bootsy the Bold. You can have the
Bootsy
Bold
card.
Yeah. Bootsy the Bold. Oakley's got an interactive lab where you can check out their vision technology. So and complimentary bottles of Bolt 24 from Gatorade. It's gonna be awesome. It's so crazy that this is the year the draft is in Cleveland, and we're like, we picked 26. We're thinking Super Bowl. We're not worried about the draft.
I believe you can kick a field goal inside First Energy Stadium.
Oh,
yeah,
Gibbon.
I saw that.
That's
exciting.
That's part of the interactive experience.
Oh,
and I thought I
kids.
read somewhere that it will actually be Nathan Zegura who will be holding on all of those kicks.
Oh,
or is it all day
should be.
Saturday that you're holding on all those kicks? You're holding all day Saturday. You're out there for 6-7 hours just holding kicks. I thought I read that. Did I not read that?
I believe
like
you
that's
missed
what
it.
I read.
I believe you missed it. I believe you were.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm happy
That's
to take
interesting.
him
I
off
saw
the
it- I
air
think I
that
saw
day
it
for
on
the radio
social.
network.
I think
the
you were off on
people
it.
won.
Sad. I will be lending my moral support to whoever the holder is, though.
Just like you out there doing that, I think that'd be a
I might slip it out like Lucy.
nice enthusiasm.
Oops.
Just the enthusiasm I think you'd have for that would be unmatched.
I would
so.
have a lot of zest.
Yeah, it is.
I'd have
It is. It is pretty strange that this is the year we have the draft and we're picking where we're picking after all the years of picking. Where it felt like the draft was the Super Bowl. This year, the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. So that's a fun problem to have. Happy Indians home opener. They're getting a little bit of an afternoon. That's a nice job out of Mother Nature. What are we going to be close to 70 for this?
It's a real delight.
I don't see any rain.
No, it's going to be.
Yeah,
it's going to be.
good.
It's going to be lovely. It's going to be lovely. By the way, did you see? Go ahead. Jump.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, speaking of baseball, I watched. My middle son really likes the sport, and he's the best of the three in terms of the type of human he is in terms of never doing anything wrong. So he likes the Angels. So they were on last night. So I watched the first inning of Shohei Ohtani throw 101, and then hit second and hit it 450 yards out of the park.
Also, yes.
And if you would have said 20 years ago this will happen, I would say, well, no chance. You're not going to, like, if somebody 20 years would have said, hey, Z, there's going to be a guy who's going to be a starting pitcher in the American League. He's going to throw 101, then he's going to hit second and hit it 450 out of the park. No chance. I mean, it's just foreign to the way that we pursue the sport. They waive the DH because he hits.
The DH. Okay.
Yeah. And then he hits when he doesn't pitch. But, I mean, he started, can routinely hit 101, 99, 101, then comes up to bat second in the bottom of the first ahead of Mike Trout and hits at 450.
Yeah.
And then goes back to pitch in the second inning.
He was a guy that I've had on my as a speculative guy on my fantasy baseball teams for a while. Got some good skills. You actually have to draft him, at least in Yahoo. He's in the game twice. You can draft him as a pitcher, or you can draft him as the hitter. Or you could draft both, I suppose, but you don't get it all for one guy.
Okay. That would have been a nice roster spot save there. Savvy move if you would have pulled that off.
Did you see Simi Beats, who tweeted us that the 2-year anniversary? Sunday was the 2-year anniversary of our iconic debate over whether or not it would be easier to fly a space shuttle or to become a driller in an extraterrestrial situation.
I believe that the conversation was, would it be harder to learn to be an astronaut for a driller or for a driller to learn to be an astronaut?
That's
My
right.
contention would be it would be far easier to take an astronaut and say, here's how do you work a drill, considering it's probably a lot of the same things.
Still couldn't disagree anymore to this day.
By the way, Moadley, I believe, has my side of this. The Honorable
I don't believe
Thomas
that's
Moadley,
correct.
You think it's easier for a driller, some guy who just operates a drill, to then be an astronaut.
Yeah.
And I believe Ben Affleck had my back on this as well,
exactly.
as was proven later.
Yeah, that's okay. When you're starting to put Ben Affleck's on your side.
Well, Modes.
The guy had a role in a movie where he only could express himself monosyllabically. Come on. Mallrats. Fashionable male.
All right, lots to get to, including a lot of interesting stuff in Peter King's Football Morning in America. We will get to that. Pretty loaded up here, actually, on a Monday. We have a little higher or lower coming as well today in the second hour. Fantastic.
I don't know what that is.
No, I think this one actually is. I think Gibby has tricked us.
Like,
we can't do.
It's over.
Over under.
Yeah,
Over under. He should have went higher or lower, because then we would have been forced to say higher or lower, because better or worse wouldn't have worked. No, over under. Over under it is. Off and running here on a Monday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. sure to catch the latest edition of the best podcast available, presented by Key Private Bank. Out now wherever you get your podcasts, or going onto the YouTube/Browns to check it out. The great Clooney joins the Ibs boys as the three guys discuss their mocks 2.0. NFL draft analyst Nathan Zegura joins as well to discuss the Browns' options at pick number 26, which could really be limitless in terms of who could be available at 20. It's tough to do a mock. How are you guys doing it? Are you guys just doing it like who you want us to pick at 26?
I mean, that's how I did it. J.C. Horn,
That's how I would do it, too, because there's...
Come on down.
Yeah.
I don't care if you won't be available. Come on down.
Yeah.
It's my mock.
It's my mock.
I can do whatever I want with the first 25 picks.
Yeah. It's not like us with the, last year when you knew it was going to be a tackle. So it's very, very different. Who knows what's going to happen in front of you?
No, but there's a little bit of something that I came across. I actually sent this to Gibbe, so I don't know if we'll eventually maybe even get a little more intel on it. But Warren Sharp of Sharp Football.
Yeah, Warren Sharp.
He
great
tweeted out
great
today,
mustache on him.
Tremendous mustache. Real throwback. Classic. He said the Browns have drafted a round 1 or round 2 defensive back in 4 straight drafts. That may continue with the round 1 corner in 2021. Here's the latest NFL draft rumors from Ryan McChrystal. And it says, the Browns appear to be in decent shape at cornerback with free agent addition Troy Hill, Greedy Williams returning from injury, and Denzel Ward. However, the team is spending a time with a number of potential first-round cornerback selection this offseason. The list of Cleveland's reported virtual visits includes Greg Newsome II from Northwestern, Caleb Farley, J.C. Horn, thank you very much, Asante Samuel Jr. All these players are likely to be gone by the time Cleveland is on the clock on day 2, so it appears as though they're giving serious consideration to adding more talent to the secondary in round 1. And I think you and I both agree that it seems to be the biggest need remaining on this team, knowing that there are both draft and free agent options, real free agent options. Clowney, who could, Aldon Smith, who could fill that veteran role at defensive end and also give you some real juice there. Whereas in the draft, corner seems to have a much better ready-to-play-for-you type person at 26.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about corner that you'd be silly not to acknowledge is that Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward and Greedy a whole season, have missed games.
Every year.
So you got to have some dudes, in there. And yeah, I think, and again, you could play right now with who we have.
Yep.
You feel very good about it. But at the same time, you would need, I think that's the one position where you need depth and you need insurance, and it would be great to get a stud. I mean, the guys you just mentioned are studs. You get one of those guys, I mean, that's a first-round corner. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking about some depth at corner, the likes of which I don't know when we've had that. I mean,
not like
the
that.
depth when you're talking that many guys. Yeah, who can play. All right, let's go around the league. Aaron Rodgers starts his 2-week run as host of Jeopardy tonight. It's interesting how excited he was about it. I've forgotten that he was a guest on. This will not incentivize me to watch. I'm sure the highlights will be made readily available on the social of his hosting experience. I do think he's such a dry sense of humor. I think this could work for him, though. I do think he'll do okay.
I think he will be good at it. And just as you just said to me, yeah, there's zero. This doesn't do anything for me to necessarily watch the Jeopardy, but certainly I think he'll be good at it, and I think he'll have fun with it. And I think they'll be entertaining episodes.
Yeah, he'll do a nice job with it, and that's a great gig. It's not as good as the Wheel of Fortune gig. That's the best gig in entertainment, but it's a really, really good gig. And the big reason there is in Wheel of Fortune, you don't even have to learn how to pronounce anything. Right.
Great gig.
4 days a week.
That's right.
It's the best gig. Peter King, Football Morning in America. A lot of interesting stuff here, including this. The NFL considering a Midnight Madness type of kickoff to training camp on the 27th, July 27th. The NFL is thinking seriously about it. Sort of an opening in the training camp season with 28 teams opening on the same date with the same fanfare accompanying it. The new collective bargaining agreement calls for teams to open camp 47 days before their first regular season games. And so 28 of the 32 teams could, and he says could, open training camp on the same date on or about Tuesday, July 27th. I say go. Absolutely. What fun. Let's have